because it's the Kpfa elections report back. Greg, do you want to mention anything about that to start us off?
Well, the Rescue Pacifica people that the county party endorsed you, Phoebe, and the Rescue Pacifica. So, you know, our county party endorsed 11 candidates. And I can report that Rescue Pacific is very, very, very busy getting ready for the election and making changes to the website, updating their website and all that stuff. But we're really nervous because our opponents for that bylaws vote, they spent a ton of money. They sent out about 90,000 postcards. They must have spent over $50,000, and our side could only come up, you know, we don't have that kind of money. We could only come up with a couple $1,000s to mail out a couple thousand postcards. So we're just very nervous that they're going to do this big money spending thing and have all their lies and, you know, overwhelm it and try to buy the election. So, but all we can do is what we can do. So, you know, we're trying to get the word out. We're going to be putting out, you know, emails are not that expensive. We'll put out emails. It looks like we're again coming up with enough money to send out a couple thousand postcards, but we're keeping our fingers crossed because they spent. It's just like what they're doing with Bonta, right? I mean, Bonta is spending a ton of money, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, maybe it's even approaching $1 million now. It's just insane, but that's what they do.
Mia.
You know, they raise tons of money and they buy the election.
Yes, there's Mia and all those ones too. But you know, but I will say too, again, beating that dead Klansman, I definitely have seen and think we should be, you know, navigating that corrupt capitalist system. $50,000 should not be a fucking hassle for any of our sides. And it's because the people we're targeting. So it's almost like the same thing that they are doing, the New Day side, as far as like wanting to target large Democratic donors. The only difference I see is that, if nothing else, and one of the reasons we have problems raising money is because they know they could give us $1 million and it's not even necessarily getting them a guarantee that we're going to take the call. Like, your participation is about how much access you get. Are you coming to meetings and all this shit too? Just because you donated a bunch of fucking money doesn't mean that you automatically get a fucking, you know, response to your fucking phone call and whatever agenda you have. Oh shit, and I'm sorry, I want to go back. Part of on the recall stuff too, Greg, what I would say again, which is also still beating the dead Klansman, is that the reason is, and we had this before you got here, the debate that comes up every time the voter guides come out, like, we should never endorse a fucking Democratic candidate. And no matter who the fuck you are, if you've chosen to be in that party, what you're saying is that the status quo is okay. And it's just fucking not. And it's not. And it never fucking has been. Right? It just hasn't. So I think we save tons of money on voter guides when it should be nothing about articles, like teach-in articles about why you should actually register alternative parties, and fuck these Democratic candidates. They don't have your best interests at heart. You want to, and they keep selling you. And if if it wasn't so true that they would lose just their control, because it's not even about, like, classism is a foundation of some ills and all that. But I firmly believe, this is not a policy of Oakland Greens, but I firmly believe it's all just about control, because I was saying this to my mother on the phone last night, and I've said it before, beating the same fucking dead Klansman. We have enough resources, money in this same corrupt capitalist system to have enough for everyone. Bezos still could jam his fucking gonorrhea-infested penis rocket into the fucking thing. His lifestyle wouldn't change a bit, not even a little fucking bit. None of their lifestyles would. But what it would do is teach everyone that we don't need government. I don't need you, right, to fucking do it, because the only thing that everything is crime, and this is from talking to motherfuckers selling nickel bags on the fucking corner. If you had a job that fucking just afforded you, and this is back early 2000s, $5,000 a month, living in deep East Oakland, would you be out there saying, it's like, no, why would I be selling nickel bags if I can support my family and not risk the fucking harassment of the police, right? Of course not. Of course you would not, right? It's what you fucking left people. So anyway, that's that rant on why that one. Back to KPFA. I still think $50,000 should not be a huge thing. I'm hoping that the Oakland Greens can get there. I admit that I have still just been relying on our email list and have not even put into practice the idea of like, and the most easiest one would be contacting Steph Curry. Like with all the money they do and go, hey, but you know, this is real shit here that we're talking. And if you can convince them, these people that are already donating to give us the same monies, people would be able to hear the message that we're talking about. And it's not even ours, right? This is the same thing that Martin talked about. Tons of wiser people than all of us in this fucking room have said. And it's just, we need a new system. And I do like the idea that I say too, that we should think of America as we're under apartheid and we need to come out of it. So we need a whole brand new constitution. And I wish we had the energy for us, the Greens, to already do stuff like that. But we already do policy. So the Greens, I hope the Oakland Greens stuff, we've endorsed the Rescue Pacifica slate, myself, Phoebe, and I think we should possibly look at Fred Cook. If you haven't looked at the any of the candidate statements or the first debates they have, it's on YouTube. It's already on the Oakland Greens website. It's been posted on our Facebook pages. I haven't done Instagram because Instagram doesn't, it's hard to get links, at least for us. Anyway, so I've emailed the election supervisor. Oh, and that'll tie into that all the shit that people talk about, like being excluded or anything. I personally have not experienced any of that. The election supervisor, the debate moderators, all that have always gotten back to me within 24 hours. I've never had any hassle. They helped me. I sent out, people don't know that the Oakland Greens, myself, but sponsored using the Oakland Greens, we put out a thing to do all of the candidate cards, anybody that showed up. And people have shown up. I did Phoebe's, I did Richard's, Stone's, did myself, of course. I'm doing another one that they're letting do their cart on-air cart late. We're doing it tomorrow morning. And then I also scheduled a whole bunch of other Mondays up until October 4th for people, just if you want to, like, I'm going to go there and use the space, and the same rant that I'm doing here, I'm going to do one for local station board so that we can put it up on social media. So we've actually already kind of bridged that gap to trying to get them. The biggest dysfunction, if you haven't been to local station boards, is the same thing that was happening at the county party way back in the day, right? Motherfuckers don't like each other and they talk to each other like they're on the block, and which you wouldn't actually talk that way on the block, at least not without knowing that, oh, you know, if I say this, I might get smacked. I might get a little pop for that, you know, or at least cussed out, right? So I went on a whole long time. If I think of anything else, I'll come back. But Bill, please go ahead.
Quick question for Greg. You know, it seems to me, since you know, Rescue Pacifica was you know, strongly on the side of defeating the amendment, and there were a number of fairly prominent people, especially sort of, you know, entertainment people and others who were likewise in opposition. Have we reached out to them for support for our candidates, for our Rescue Pacifica candidates? It would seem like an obvious ask, even if they lend their names. I mean, it would be a good thing. So,
yeah, apparently most of those were gotten by people involved with some of the other stations, not involved with, you know, KPFA, but involved in New York or possibly LA, and they had trouble. So we're not getting very many of the major names that we had for defeating the bylaws. In fact, I think almost all the very top names declined to get involved in the local station board election. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not having any of these really big name endorsers, but So far, our opponents, our opponents have their website up, and they don't have any big name endorsers either. They have a bunch of KPFA program hosts, but we have a bunch of hosts too. So we're doing okay in the endorsements game. The thing we're worried about is more the money. But all we can do is all we can do. I mean, if you can get Steph Curry to donate $50,000 or anybody else, I mean, we'll be happy to get it out. So.
I admit I have more immediate priority energies, sadly. So I haven't written a letter to like get proofed and figure it out, but I'm sure everyone else is overwhelmed, but I do quite a bit. So that's just like, it's a dream. It would be great to get someone new in that would do that. But even the names over there too, we should be targeting Danny Glover, all the people that endorse for against the bylaws. That's what the Greens and county and all that stuff and state, all of them should be targeting them for financial assistance too. Also, so sticking with KPFA, the reason, and this is one of the reasons why I was like, I wanted the endorsement, but I don't want to be part of any slate is, excuse me, Rescue Pacifica has the same issue as the Save Pacific. They've changed their name, a whole bunch of the people who supported the New Day bylaws, and the same thing why it happens at local station board. At some of those meetings, you will hear, I have pounded again, I love this reference, beating the dead Klansman, that about nonviolent communication and having to do it. Someone would come on the mic next and agree, and then in the next sentence, not even waiting 2 sentences, next sentence, call someone from the New Day out by name and call them names. I'm like, okay, well, that's not nonviolent communication. So I think that one of the reasons why probably some of the big names don't want to endorse as far as the local station board, which maybe they don't want to just get involved with the elections, but it's because, they're both have some dysfunctional folks that no one wants to call out for some reason. I don't understand it. I never understood it at the county. It was what pushed me away. And then when I ended up back running campaigns in office, I had to go there again. And I just knew after that third meeting, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this and be here for 6 months without something bad happening. And rather to fucking do an open letter and go, let's someone try to push it out into the forefront. And it did, right? Fucking wrote that letter and heard that motherfucker again, right? Never came back, right? He came back a couple times, but was super, super polite and then never came back. So, I think the same thing needs to be said. And I've actually beforehand said it in local station board meetings, was the one where we have the camps and the cabal and all that, whatever the fuck they were trying to say. And I went into the meeting there and I put in the chat, it was like, wow, the way you're talking sounds like you're just standing on the corner, like having beers with people you know. And if you're talking that way with people you don't know, that's a good way to have someone, do whatever you want. Everyone has a right, but every action has an equal, but oftentimes opposite reaction. So you call someone a bitch or call them out their names or whatever, stuff like that. And they're having a bad day. And their reaction is, again, like I said before, to pop you in the mouth. I don't see how people could fall. I'm like, oh, that seems exactly what would happen. Like, a good thing you didn't say that to my mother, because she doesn't even have to be having a bad day. You talk some shit like that to my mom. My mom is a fighter. Like, she'll do it. So I said it there, and I think too. So I will have energy. I wonder if I can reach out to some of those larger names and get endorsements more too. But I do have, of course, Rescue Pacifica did endorse me. I have the daughter of author Charles Bukowski, Marina Bukowski, has endorsed me. The county has endorsed. Of course, Oakland Greens have endorsed me and stuff like that too. So I should reach out to some of those people to endorse me on that as well. Anything else on the KPFA election?